Hi everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of the Winging It F1 podcast. All three of us are back together for the first time in a few weeks. And by all three of us, I of course mean myself, Nigel Dew, Adam Dickinson from Oklahoma, and Freddie Coates from Sheffield. Even though he's been in Monaco, and Dad's Zatch because he's having fun, like we all are. How are you guys doing on this fine Monday afternoon?
Well, it's not afternoon for me. It's 10:21 in the morning. But no, I'm very good. This must be one of the few days in the past few weeks that we've been just in two countries rather than all being in separate countries flung across Europe and the world. But no, I'm very good. I think I don't know, it's going to be interesting seeing how the Miami Grand Prix plays out, and I'm looking forward to discussing that today.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. As you said there, Nigel, I've been on my travels a bit at the Formula E and the GT World Challenge events this weekend. So I'm a little bit tired, but I mean, Crimea River, I had an absolutely fantastic time. So I am still on a high from a weekend of just brilliant racing.
Absolutely. And we've got more brilliant racing coming up this weekend, hopefully. But first, we're going to talk about the news, because that's what we're going to do as a podcast. There was a bit of news on Monday about 2026 and some new teams potentially, likely. The VW story has been going on for what seems like years, to be honest. But now it looks like Audi and Porsche are going to join the Formula One grid. There's a story by Reuters with, let me get his name right. What's his first name? Herbert Diess, the VW chief executive, has basically said that Porsche intend to partner up with Red Bull from 2026. Not quite sure about Audi yet, but this looks like as close to an announcement without announcing something that we're going to get, that Porsche and should be Audi are going to join Formula One from 2026. So, Freddie, what is your reaction to that?
I mean, my reaction is that it's actually kind of happening. I mean, those of you who are listening to this, who've been F1 fans for quite a bit of time, the Audi Porsche rumours joining Formula One seemingly are always there. There's seemingly an article every year saying Porsche to join F1, Audi to join F1, but nothing happens. So I think you'll forgive me if I approached this a few months ago with a little bit of cynicism. But I'm excited, and I'm excited because I think, this actually could happen. Last time Porsche were in F1 wasn't actually very competitive, but before that, they made the tag engines for McLaren that won championships. Audi have never been in F1, but they've been stonking everywhere else they've raced. So these are two companies who can do it properly, two companies under one umbrella, obviously, but who can do it properly, who very much do their own thing anyway. It's not going to be a Porsche Audi team up. It's going to be Porsche versus Audi, and it's going to mean a lot to them to beat the other. And I think it's very good. I'm really happy that it's coming to fruition, and it's nice because it shows, it's really showing the sort of position F1 is in a way that we've complained a lot as F1 fans, that where are the big names? Why have we only got Renault and Mercedes and Ferrari at one point? Where's BMW? Where's Porsche? But and here they are because F1 is in a good state, and that's nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a bit about Porsche first. Porsche Red Bull, Adam. How does that sound to you? Porsche Red Bull in 2026.
It sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty scary if Red Bull Porsche can kind of get their things together pretty quickly, and have that transfer that knowledge that we know they have from a range of other motorsports across the motorsporting world. So yeah, I think that it must be very exciting going from where Red Bull were, a year ago, where Honda are pulling out and there's kind of a lot of uncertainty over the program. Will they have to go back to Renault, or will they have to crawl on their knees to Mercedes or Ferrari? And to go from that to now where they could be getting one of the biggest names and kind of just most efficient brands in the car world partnering with them and powering their cars will excite the team a lot. And I'd imagine if there's any doubt over whether Max Verstappen would be leaving or anything like that a few years down the road, to be able to kind of wave that in front of him as what's on the horizon will be pretty. I think that would be pretty persuasive, or at least it would be to me. But I'm not an F1 driver, famously.
No, I think that's a great point. I think we mentioned when Verstappen signed his contract during I think it was the first pre-season test earlier this year. I mentioned that the two reasons he signed is, apart from money, obviously, is because he's got a decent car this year, because he had a day or two in the car, and because I think this Porsche Red Bull move has been coming, and I think that kind of partnership is something that will excite Verstappen. And why would he leave Red Bull when you got Porsche coming to join you? So I think it goes back to that, and we're finally going to hopefully get some kind of announcement this year with Red Bull and Porsche. What do you think about the engine side of things, Freddie, in terms of Porsche coming in? Because obviously Red Bull have got a Red Bull powertrains engine, which is actually Honda. How do you think that will be sorted out?
So Porsche, as a new manufacturer, will be given dispensation and development time and dyno time and so on, and funding that they can put into it. It's going to cause a few headaches, and it's obviously going to cause a few arguments, because albeit with Porsche and Audi being under the same VW bracket, that's an argument in itself. What's transfer of data? But they're very much officially separate companies. But anyway, Porsche coming in to sort of take over from Red Bull powertrains and essentially be taking over from Honda means that, are they then getting extra development on a power unit package that has had a lot of investment and development? And that's going to be a sticky, sore situation, probably very soon, which to be discussed. So there's going to be a few arguments that will be long-term legal arguments, I think, coming into this. Audi very much want to do this on their own, but Porsche have been flitting around. They even went to the point of making a V6 turbo engine in 2015, 2016, considering an entry then, again, I think with Red Bull. And they went as far as dyno time on that. So Porsche are in a better position just in terms of floating the waters with F1 than Audi. But currently it looks like Audi will be a much easier kettle of fish to manage from just a legal perspective than Porsche will be in their partnership with Red Bull and Red Bull powertrains, and by then extension Honda. Yeah,
and Audi, it's not quite as clear who they are going to partner. It looks like if Andretti come in, they will go with Alpine, but Audi, it could really be anyone. They could take over Mercedes, McLaren. They could join, make a partnership, or take over Williams, or something like that. Have you got any guesses, Adam, as to where Audi are going to go?
I guess maybe the one that might stand out at the moment is Sauber, given there's not too much certainty over where they're at, or they've not been competitive previously for a few seasons. And I think that if you're looking at kind of the team that you'd be able to exert most influence over, or kind of mold it in your own image, I'd imagine Sauber would be top of that pile, especially given Williams' recent takeover. I think the boat may have passed, that ship may have sailed for for kind of the ideal moment for that move. So I imagine that would be my guess, but it's as you say, it does kind of feel much more wide open than with Porsche's situation. And just seeing, I think that'll be really interesting, kind of tracking. There'll be a lot of rumors coming out, there'll be a mountain of rumors coming out over the next months and years over what's going to happen there. But yeah, if you put me on the spot, I'd say Sauber.
Yeah, Freddie?
Historically, Williams have been very steadfast to be Williams. Sauber have been a bit more happy to be someone else, in the fact that they've been BMW and currently are Alfa Romeo. So from that kind of perspective, I would say Sauber as well, particularly because McLaren seem to have backed off from a lot of the talks with Audi as well recently, in terms of sort of controlling stakes and so on. So I kind of think I would also agree Sauber, but it's all a bit kind of like, I don't know, because Doralton now own Williams, and Doralton's an investment firm, and surely the best thing to do is to have bought Williams about $150, $160 million, and then sell it to Audi for $500 million. That's surely what Doralton do in real life. So not that this isn't real, you know what I mean, with other companies. as a capital investment firm. So I kind of think that could open it up for the Williams name to be gone in a few years.
And Williams has some staff that used to be at VW as well. Like, Jos Capito, the team principal, and used to be part of the VWRC team. And I think there's a few other people.
FX Demaison,
the
technical
so
director.
I think those links could, perhaps entice VW to make Audi join up with Williams as well. So, I can see that happening. And if it is Williams or if it is Sauber, I think it's great for both teams. They'll have that extra money, extra backing. So again, it's just really good for the sport, and F1 is really thriving right now. Was you going to say something, Adam?
I think no. I was agreeing.
I've got one more thing on that, with just following on from you've said about Jost. Williams have already put a marker in the sand that they're moving away from really this kind of previous ownership partnership with Mercedes that was so strong by not hiring Nick de Vries for this season, and by saying, well, no, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to hire Alex Albon. It's not a Mercedes seat, in a way that did irk bosses at Mercedes. So even though they've currently got a gearbox and some sort of, I think, brakes system kind of partnership with Mercedes, I think the more I speak about it, the more I seem to think Williams is kind of the answer for Audi.
Yeah, and I guess this is a bit of a wider question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Obviously, these teams, Audi and Porsche, will be taking over the teams rather than forming their own team or their own manufacturer to have an 11th or 12th team. Do you think that's a good thing for F1, or is it bad? Right, so is it better that a big manufacturer comes in, helps the smaller team or helps Red Bull, or is it better to have an 11th or 12th team?
I don't think it's a bad thing on its own. That's the first thing. But I think ideally, I think it would be better to, have that 11th or 12th team and expand just the kind of margin for things going badly wrong with F1, because, they're really kind of we could have lost Haas a few years ago, and they're really kind of only one catastrophe away from going down to 9 teams, and that really would be catastrophic for the sport. So I think, ideally you'd want to see them, starting their own team and having, a bit more kind of competition on the grid, and, just expanding that scope a bit. But as I say, it's not, I think what is on the table is the worst option, but it's not a bad option. It's still very beneficial to F1 to have them come in.
I kind of agree with that. It's kind of like, I'd much prefer, just from a fan perspective, to have more cars, more drivers, more teams on the grid. It's that question of heritage as well. You're not just recycling, you're keeping and rejuvenating history of Formula One as well. So I'm on board with them joining as their own entity, but I also appreciate that's incredibly difficult, and it's that they've got this stupid 200 million kind of not like deposit, which isn't a deposit rule, which I know, if you're showing the money, that makes sense, but you're paying the money, and that's just arrogant. You can tell the teams that run the sport, but it spreads the power base as well if you've got 11 or 12 teams, because it means that you've not got 5 manufacturers with sort of a team that they can have as a guinea pig. You can have the power spread a bit more and have sort of each manufacturer has a bit less power, and I think that's good as well. But I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think that's an important thing. If you do get Porsche and Audi joining, and you can have these, big heavyweight teams there, and then, something like a Aston Martin or whatever, they could get almost left out in a way. So that, everyone's just got to be a bit careful of that. But maybe
there's a room for a kind of customer car kind of argument to kind of make this more of a possibility. And the way you look at the way these teams, Porsche and Audi, have been ready to jump back into hypercar kind of thing, but it's a more simple thing. But LMP2, that has always been a phenomenal series, because you can get an Oracle, you can get the other one, a Lola, I don't know, and a Gibson or a Ginetta kind of thing. You can get another car and use it, whereas you can't really do that in F1. So I think maybe a more of a customer car kind of thing. Like, I don't know, maybe you have Porsche Red Bull, Porsche AlphaTauri, and then Porsche with an AlphaTauri chassis or something. That kind of thing. Why not? Yeah. But anyway.
That'd be quite cool. Yeah, probably won't happen, but it would be good.
No, it won't happen because it's a good idea.
Yeah, and F1 doesn't like good ideas. But
Actually,
yeah,
it's all
Porsche,
right with them
Audi,
these days.
Porsche, Audi, Andretti, if they're all joining in 2026, I think that's only good news for the sport, no matter what route they're taking. So yeah, let's hope we get some announcements this year at some point, because who knows when it will happen. It could happen tomorrow, it could happen in October, it might happen even next year.
What
But we're talking about
suspense?
it now. Yeah, I know the suspense. We're also going to talk about this weekend's race, the Miami Grand Prix. F1 has gone from Australia to Europe to America, and then we're going back to Europe because that's how it works. But yeah, it's the first of 3 American races there. New race, Miami Grand Prix. Our resident American expert, Adam Dickinson. How excited are you about the race? If you are excited, it might not be.
I'm excited, but not overly, I don't think. Yeah, it's kind of, I think that largely comes from having seen kind of views and videos of the track. I'm kind of not, really hyped that it's going to be fantastic. And I think there was a lot more kind of, I guess, not positivity, I guess just like reaction. Or at least I've kind of seen more reaction when the Vegas Grand Prix was announced than like now leading up to this one. But maybe that's just me not being in the loop or whatever. But yeah, I think I'm looking forward to having a race at a good time for me rather than like 6 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't kind of feel any. I feel excited, but I don't feel any more excited than kind of any other F1 weekend. Really, like it's a standard level of excitement for me. I will say that the corner names are great. They're just like places. It's just like the Turnpike and the Gant Toll and parking lot 5 and like tennis courts. It's it's an interesting
not
location.
It's Beckett's or Sandoval or Lowe's Hairpin, is it?
No, it's not quite that.
Even it's some of them though. At least they've given them some names.
Yeah,
I mean, you go to like the only other really new track I can think of with some corner names is probably Singapore, because it's on streets, so they have street names. Like it was done for them. Like famous, the Bahrain turn 10 is a really difficult turn. Give that a name, but no, it's just called turn 10. So it's that kind of thing.
At least Baku's got the castle section, and that's it. Just
it's a section.
Like you've got the rest of the track, and then the castle section, and then
it's still
the rest of the
turn
track.
48, isn't it? So. But we've actually got the car. They actually even admitted they call it Car Park 5 as one of the corners. It's fantastic. Lot 5. But
and
anyway.
Yeah, on the track, Freddie. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it'll be a good track for racing? Bad track? It'll be good for qualifying, perhaps.
I have no idea, mate. I have no idea what to make of it, because it's got lots of opportunities for fast speed. It's got opportunities for slipstream, but it's also quite narrow at points, and it's got weird camber at points as well, if I'm right in saying. So I've kind of no idea what to expect from this. I think it's one of those ones you don't really know until you can kind of get a picture of it as a size in relation to Formula One, if that makes sense, because maybe it isn't narrow, maybe it just looks narrow on the kind of Assetto Corsa-esque kind of R Factor 2 sim kind of stuff that's been going around. I need to kind of see an onboard lap in a couple of days to figure that one out, really, I'd say. But I think a few of the drivers have been quite favourable of it. I think Valtteri Bottas said in Imola to some press that he thinks it could be a bit of an overtaking fest. So who knows? Maybe it will be more of a Baku kind of race, but maybe it'll be the race that Vietnam should have been. Who knows?
I was literally about to say that. I think it could be that, but I don't know. The kind of what I'm thinking of is the onboard rendering that came out a year ago. So obviously that's a lot can kind of be specified in a year, and the track being real rather than on a simulation. So maybe it's unfair to kind of go off that, but yeah, I'm kind of not immediately blown away by it. I think Miami will do a good job hosting though. Like they had the Super Bowl a few years, and by all accounts that was just fantastic. And I think it's going to be a similar thing. I think it's going to be quite a celebration. And unfortunately I won't be there, but for people who are there, I think they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, there will
James
be
Corden,
there. LeBron
James.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I'm kind of with you, not as exciting as I have. I'm not as excited as I have been in the past for this race compared to other new races that joined, but it's still a new track.
We weren't excited for Baku. I don't remember there being much hype for Baku. I remember people thinking, what the hell is this fiddly castle section? Yeah. And that's just really narrow for show. And the straight's just really long, just to have drive-bys. And people now go wild for Baku. So who knows? Maybe it's got the potential. But
yeah,
I think, we need to give it the benefit of the doubt. But we also, I think, you can approach it with a bit of kind of like, who knows what's going to happen.
Stick a pin and go wild for Baku for our Azerbaijan Grand Prix preview title.
I think one thing which will be a key factor in terms of the pecking order is I think the tarmac is all new, so I think that's going to rubber in a lot, and there's going to be a huge track evolution. Probably the biggest track evolution we might see this year. So I think the gaps might be a bit bigger than we've seen in the first 4 races. So instead of there being 10 cars separated by 1 second, it might just be 5 or 6 instead or something like that. So I think that'll be quite key. Whichever team can adapt to that new tarmac, I think will have a big advantage with the fickle Pirelli tyres that we've got at the moment. So I think that'll be the key in terms of who's got the pace. But whether that's Red Bull or Ferrari, I've absolutely no idea, because I think a lot of teams are bringing upgrades this weekend, and the margins are just so close. So, can any of you two pick out who's going to be on top?
Red Bull or Ferrari?
Brilliant, fantastic. Come on.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean, Adam said it, Red Bull or Ferrari. I think we made the mistake of thinking Ferrari would walk it in Imola, and they didn't. So I think it is just going to be pretty level pegging between Red Bull and Ferrari. I don't really think there's any other way to look at it. There's things I want to happen. I don't think will happen. I don't know. I want Alpine to finally get their act together. I want Sainz to finally get something decent happen to him in a qualifying session. So hopefully that happens. I want the new Mercedes upgrade that they're being incredibly vague about to actually do something and not just be nothing, but probably won't be the case.
Actually, on site, I think me and Freddie talked about this post Imola about whether he might be assigned to play the team role for Leclerc. Just wondering what your thoughts on that, and whether Sainz might become a number 2 now.
I think it might be starting to get to that stage. I think this, these kind of next couple of weekends, I think this and Spain, I mean, especially being his home race, will be really pivotal. I think if he's still, kind of not, kind of clearly behind Leclerc and not got, headline win, or kind of not beaten Leclerc by that point, then I think by Monaco, then we'll be into that position. And I imagine Monaco will be a race that Ferrari will be targeting a lot, seeing as it's not ended well for Leclerc in the last few times he's been there. So I think these next 2 races will be really pivotal, but also it's a hell of a long season. It's not, there's a lot that can change, or, Leclerc has a couple of retirements as Sainz has, and suddenly, it's kind of completely flipped. And, and obviously it depends on Red Bull as well, because it can be that what's best for Leclerc is also best for Sainz, depending on the situation with Red Bull. So I think they'd be in this position. I imagine they'll be looking at that and using it as an option where they won't be with Leclerc, but I don't think that's kind of it done for Sainz this season. I think he'll still have options to be his own man and get his own results, and it's kind of whether he can take them.
Yeah. Do you have any further thoughts on that, Freddie, since we last spoke about it?
Yeah, they just need to be delicate. Ferrari have tried to sort of handle teammates before, and it's gone awry really badly. Thinking of this management with Vettel and Leclerc, trying to sort of re-gift the win to Leclerc in Sochi from Vettel just was a mess. So just as long as they are clear and understandable, and Sainz knows what he's doing, yeah. But I can foresee a situation where this isn't communicated properly, and Red will just drive past them.
Yeah, I think for me, Sainz is one of the few drivers this weekend in particular who need a big weekend, whether that's a great result or outstanding performance. I think the other drivers, Mick Schumacher, for me, I think he's only one of the two drivers who haven't scored points yet. When Magnussen has been in the top 10 a few times, I think he really needs to get his confidence back, and on a new track, which might level the playing field a bit. I think, Schumacher needs to do something this weekend. And any other drivers you think need to pull something out of the bag this weekend?
I think Joe's going to have a great weekend.
Oh, driver.
So you need to have a great weekend, or do you think
I just think he is. I think Miami's a lot like Sheffield. I think he's going to feel at home though. He's going to have a great. I don't think there's anyone kind of at that stage.
Yeah. Most drivers
have we lost hope for Latifi?
Really. Most drivers have done quite well.
Yes, I have.
You have lost hope for Latifi.
I have.
I think Nigel's and I are the same.
Hulkenberg, he could have a big weekend. That would be nice.
Careful. Is he going to be the new race director, considering British and Eduardo Freitas both tested positive for COVID, sending them both best wishes, obviously. But that was he is the super sub.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, since we haven't managed to pick out any drivers because every weekend's equal and stuff like that, except the Knox sprint weekends, let's give our predictions 1, 2, 3 for the race. I'm going to come to you, Freddie, first, since I caught you off guard. What's your thoughts?
Perez, Leclerc, Sainz.
Perez, Leclerc, Sainz. Adam.
Boring. Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez.
I'll go Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen.
Fun.
I don't know if it has the kind of ingredients to be a crazy race. I guess every street circuit does, but but I guess I'm not like pinpointing.
It's not really a street track, though, is it? It's just a new track that's been built. Really, it's a permanent track with temporary infrastructure.
It's a strange one. I don't know. I don't think it's kind of got the. I'm all for kind of wild podiums and predictions. Yeah, but
all right, give us a wild thing. Go on, Adam. Just give us a wild thing based on absolutely nothing.
Alligator crawls onto the track at some point in the weekend.
Well, that's fun. Cool. Yeah, okay, that's cool. I'm not going to top
that.
The
golf tournaments in Florida, a fair amount. Not on the track, on the golf courses.
To be fair, they have ponds there.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll have like a water jump, like the steeplechase, and or like Cars 2.
Cars 2,
maybe. Who knows? Just one more thing to mention that I noticed is W Series is starting this weekend at Miami. They're going to have a third of the calendar is going to be in America, so there's going to be 2 races this weekend, and it's in a bit. Not a transition, but I guess there's a few questions about it. Jamie Chadwick's returning for a 3rd season, which hasn't, I guess, been universally approved or appreciated, but it's, I guess, showing the difficulties of finding a seat in a series higher up. And there's a few older drivers coming in. So, but there's still Alice Powell in, who will be hoping to, make her win and go one better than last season. And I think it's going to be interesting. Abby Pulling as well, someone who me and Freddie have met and interviewed. She'll be good, hopefully making that next step and becoming the champion this season. So it's kind of a bit of a weirder start to the season for W Series, but I think it should be a good watch. So if you do have time, check out that.
Yes, and for UK listeners, it will be on Sky Sports F1 now, which is properly a motorsport channel now, which is good.
Yeah, but it's not free to wear, which is a bit of a problem. But
no, true.
It goes both ways, doesn't it? So Anyway, that will be on Sky Sports F1. So will the F1, obviously, because it is Sky Sports F1. It'd be weird if it wasn't. For the UK listeners, we'll be back on Monday to review the Miami Grand Prix. Hopefully it's a good race. Hopefully it's exciting. If it's not, it doesn't matter. We'll be here. So until then, we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.